Yo, what's good, everybody? It's your boy Jimmy, aka WR Lazarus. I'm here with my boy.
The name's Kyodai, but you can call me Ding. You already know what it is.
All right, and we're here with our first installment of our new series on the channel, Talk Siege Tuesday.
You already know what's
Pretty much,
good.
pretty much, we're just gonna be talking about anything siege related. Hopefully, we can get some comments and questions from the community, and also some of our other clanmates. And let's get right into it.
So, in today's episode of Talk Siege Tuesday, we're going to be talking about the console experience. And that includes people booting, people using mouse and keyboards, and the overall community and how toxic it can be at times. So, let's start off with booting first. So, in regards to booting we refer to as somebody on the other team pulling our IP and kicking us from the game. I cannot tell you how many times this happened to me, probably at least 50 times. And now it doesn't happen as much just because I actually have a VPN now, which is really crazy because you actually have to buy something in order to fix it. But here's how it necessarily works. So there's a website, it's called Xresolver, and it's specifically made for Xbox users. Right? So somebody would type your gamer tag in, they would hit resolve, and it would find your gamer tag and where your IP, where you live, and everything of that nature. What they would do is they would use another third-party source called Octosniff. Octosniff is a thing that takes your IP and actually stresses it into the point where your internet shuts down. And this happens so much because back when Octosniff was able to take IPs from people joining parties, right? So when I was in another party, probably like a year ago, I joined a party and this dude, he had like a weird, gamer pick, and it was like some Illuminati type stuff or hacker type stuff, right? And I'm just like, oh boy, he's about to say something stupid to me. And he didn't say nothing. He just said, GG's. And then he kicked me from the party. I was like, what does he mean by GG? So my friend was in the party as well. And he ended up getting booted. And I was like, why is this guy booting us? And I didn't experience the boot until a literal months later, when the Xresolver, the website I was talking about, was able to boot you from just searching up your gamertag, right? So he booted me. I got booted several times, and not to mention, I was at my parents' house, and my parents were also playing a game, or watching a movie, whatever they were doing, and their whole internet would just get crashed. That is crazy, right? You're able to type in a gamertag and it boots you. Now, the only way to actually just stop it from getting booted is to, one, never join a party. You could think just never have joined a party. Two, to get yourself blacklisted, which costs, I think, $8 is what my friend told me. So you have to pay extra money to get blacklisted, so you stop something that shouldn't even be happening in the first place. I know, it's crazy. And the third thing is get a VPN, which is I have, but my parents already had like a VPN before, so they realized that it was happening to me. So they just got a VPN and now it works. Overall, this booting is just it's pathetic at the point where I don't know if people boot for fun or people just boot because it's their rank. It's like, oh, I'm not really good enough to play the game, so I have to boot in order to gain any sophistication in rankings, right? Not to mention, like, now it limits the ability to meet new friends on Xbox. Like the whole point of partying on Xbox was to be like get a random party invite from some of your teammates and be like, oh, I'm gonna join this party and see if I can meet a new friend. But nah, you can't do that anymore because they could be booting you. And it's not just Siege, right? But the crazy part is, it really only is Siege because Siege has such high stakes when it comes to ranked. Ranked is just the most crazy thing, right? So if you lose your rank, you lose some type of ego or your pride or whatever. It's just a number, right? So you have to boot for that. And it just sucks, And it's the same thing that goes with the mouse and keyboard. That's our next topic, mouse and keyboard, right, Jimmy?
Yeah, so that brings us into our next topic, which is mouse and keyboard on console. It's a pretty common problem. Really, it's pretty simple. It can cost upwards of probably over $50 is what I've heard to get a separate adapter, plug it into your Xbox, and boom, you're playing mouse and keyboard, which, if you are not aware, is a huge advantage over people who are just using a controller. It's just easier to control recoil. Everybody knows console aim is a little bit more difficult using the sticks. And mouse and keyboard is really common, especially in Ding's ranks, or upper plat, upper gold, mid plat, high plat level, and it's pretty common. You'll probably see a mouse, at least probably 2 mouse and keyboard users every game. Yeah, and mouse and keyboard on console, it's a pretty major problem. We deal with it all the time. It's pretty frustrating. At the end of the day, we're playing Siege to have fun, and it's not fun going against people who have a clear advantage. Sometimes we win, sometimes we lose, but at the end of the day, we shouldn't have to deal with it. I'm not sure if that's something that UB can take care of. I heard in other games that it's possible to detect when a player is using mouse and keyboard because compared to a controller, they just have too many clear advantages, easier recoil control, just honestly an easier range of motion as long as they have a decent mouse pad, I guess. Everything about mouse and keyboard just has a clear advantage. Is the reason why PC is the dominant race when it comes to Siege, especially.
I don't know if UB can do anything about that. I think it's more on Microsoft's end. Microsoft has to find out whether or not that mouse and keyboard is being used, because this third-party source, this adapter, might be cloaking the ability for Microsoft or a game to see if it's being mouse and keyboard. I think it identifies the keyboard as a controller through the game. So it's not necessarily Rainbow's fault, but it is a problem. Honestly, all these things end up being on Xbox, Microsoft's fault, because UB they really control the PC spectrum, right? Console, they're there. They can't really control everything that's happening because these third-party sources are accompanied to Xbox, and this booting is literally just for Xbox, not for just Ubisoft Siege players, right? It's for Xbox. So obviously we're talking about this, and obviously it's not UB's fault. I don't know if we don't know if UB can do anything. Obviously they probably can. They could probably search time, but do they really want to? It is console, and is it really a problem? It is for us, especially since being in our ranks that we are in. But it's not necessarily UB's problem.
At the end of the day, mouse and keyboard is a pretty common problem. We have to deal with it, and a lot of the community has to deal with it. Hopefully, UB can do something. That's more of a community issue as well, which actually brings us into our next topic, the community of Siege on Xbox.
Yeah, the Siege community on Xbox is, I wouldn't say it's the worst, right? It is toxic. Not as toxic as some other games, but Siege in general is like, a lot of people are really nice. A lot of people are really helpful, friendly. You can always meet new friends on here. But there's other players on this community that are just completely toxic. I don't remember a game where we won, or maybe we even lost and they were fragging or something like that, or the other team where they were top fragging, and then we would just get a message, "Oh, you're trash," clown emoji, or L, something of that nature. Bad clan, everything of that nature, right? But it's not like we're not complaining about it. Obviously, we take it. We take it. Like that's what we're just built like that. Like we're not babies. We don't be like, oh, they sent us some. So they sent us a clown emoji or an L. Like, all right, well, yeah, we lost, man. But the one thing that I know makes us mad is when we win or we lose, right? And me and Jimmy, let's just say we're the top fraggers of our team. And say, for instance, we're top fragging and we lose. We just happen to lose the game. And the bottom fragger of the other team just decides to type L, y'all trash, or y'all bad. It's like, how do you have the audacity, right? Like,
this isn't really a problem that can necessarily be fixed. I mean, no matter what game you play, there's going to be toxic players. But I think it's important that we address it as a community, just to address the situation. Toxic doesn't really get you anywhere. We get it. Sometimes you win a game, you're really feeling yourself. You gotta talk to the enemy team, especially if it's a tough game. It happens. I'm guilty of that. A couple cases. I will not lie. But just overall, it would be nice to see maybe a reduction in toxicity just across all platforms too. It doesn't have to just be Xbox or console, PlayStation, PC. I mean, we get our fair share of toxicity no matter where we play.
The Siege community being toxic is not really UB's fault, right? It's really just people, and there's nothing really to solve this thing. Like, just people in general just always have to have the last word, or they always have to have something to say to you, right? Or you're bad, or we're better than you, or something like that. Or I top frag, you bottom frag. What's your KD? What's your elo? Blah 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 blah, right? And sometimes we love that, us as a team, as people who play this game, we love that fire in the community, because sometimes we want excitement. We want to have that reason to be like, oh, you call me trash? Watch me drop 50, or watch me drop 15 on your head, right? You know what I mean? Like, we have sometimes that motivation of somebody trash talking us just brings the better out of us. Sometimes, like other teammates, when they get mad and they let them get to the head. You know, the trash talk gets to their head and they start playing bad. They start playing out of their mental. You know, but at the end of the day, teach community, it is what it is. You can't really do nothing about it. Sometimes you gotta ignore the people that say something stupid to you. You gotta encourage positivity. You gotta stay positive, never be negative, and just try your best to shut those haters up. You know what I mean?
Sometimes you have to actually kind of it's not going to sound funny. You have to kind of appreciate the toxicity, because that's also one of the things that motivates you to get better. You know, you remember that one time somebody called you bad, and it really makes you want to get better at the game. That's part of the ideology of Siege. If you want to take it like that, you get murked, you get worked in a match, you get 4-0'd, you're just not dropping any kills. Then you pick up strats, you pick up plays, new ops, and stuff like that. And eventually that builds you up to be a better player. So overall, I mean, toxicity, it's something we all have to deal with. It really gets annoying at times. It's a community thing. The companies can't really do anything about it. That's on us as a community to try to resolve it. And actually, if I'm being honest, I feel like Siege has gotten slightly better in that aspect of toxicity. It used to be every game. If I'm being a couple seasons ago, or actually I'll probably say a couple years ago, every game you could win or lose, somebody's going to trash talk you. But now I feel like it's eased up a little bit. It's a little bit harder for people to message you maybe after a match. Overall, I feel like less teabagging. I feel like more people are more focused on just playing the game overall. All right, with that being said, I think that just about does it for this week's episode of Talk Siege Tuesday. Thank you, everybody, for joining this first installment on this new series. Go ahead and like and subscribe, and also drop some comments of what you want us to talk about in future episodes.
And as always, guys, feel free to comment down below any other content y'all want us to make or try to do. All right? That about wraps it up. You already know who Jimmy is.
Sir?
You already know who I am. My name's Ding. And as always, you already know. Stay warrior. We out.